everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Anything But Bland, where we talk about business, community, and everything in between. Today, we're going to talk about financial planning for startups and entrepreneurs from an accounting perspective.
Yes. Hi, everyone. KRiskowski. And as Ashley mentioned, we are talking about accounting and planning for startups. And we have a very special guest who, I think this was her direct quote.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, it is.
She has a love for facts, figures, analytics, and making numbers work. She's a partner at Bland and loves helping her clients. I can attest to that. Her and I have worked on several accounts together, and she is someone that is just so intelligent and passionate. She also has a unique perspective to share because she and her husband also own a business. So she's a tax partner at Bland, also a business owner.
Busy.
Yeah, just busy, but such good insight. So, Jamie Brewer, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Jamie.
Hi, I'm Jamie Brewer. Been with Bland for 13 years now, and like Kaylee mentioned, I'm a tax partner at Bland, but I also own a restaurant down in Lincoln with my husband. So lots of perspective and busy.
Yes.
So I'm sure you are very busy, but what can we find you doing outside of either work? I mean, are you working outside of work? I know you're probably busy with other stuff this summer. Is there, what's your favorite thing to do outside of work, I suppose?
Yes. So I have two children.
Okay.
And they keep me pretty busy.
I figured.
They're very athletic, and so we're always doing something, some type of sport. This summer we did track and basketball.
Oh, gosh.
So doing a lot of that, but
Yes.
it's nice because I have such a love and passion for running. And so doing track, it's fun. It's fun to go out there and
It's
my
so
husband-
hot.
Yeah.
These poor kids. I'm just thinking,
it is hot. Yeah, it
but
is.
they're resilient.
Yeah,
Isn't that
they're
they say
young,
kids
they
are
can-
resilient?
yeah.
Handle it. It's fine.
True. Yes.
Well, that's good. Well, so today's topic is one that we think will be super helpful for our listeners that might be thinking about starting up their own business or maybe recently have felt overwhelmed by any of these things, especially the financial piece. So we've got some questions for you, Jamie, that hopefully our listeners will find to help them get on their feet, or, as we say, if we don't cover what you want to hear, please reach out and we can get those answers for you and I can connect you to Jamie.
Yeah. We should also say, too, and we've mentioned this before when we have guests on, we're really just doing an introduction to the topic today. So if there's something you want to hear more in depth about, by all means, please reach out. Ashley always has her information in the show notes, but today will really just kind of be a primer to the topic. And with that, we have some questions for Jamie that we would love to hear her insights on. And so first, Jamie, I think we all know in life in general, it's good to start anything with a plan. And so can you talk to us from your perspective as a tax partner and business owner, what are some key components of a financial plan for someone thinking about starting a business?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say the number one main thing to do is to get a good business plan done. And with business plan, financial forecasting is key as well.
Is this something an accountant would help you with?
Yes, you could have an accountant help you. You could do it on your own. There's other resources out there for consultants or other things that could help you with that. But that's going to be probably the number one key thing is make sure that it works, especially with the financial forecasting. There's a lot of ways to kind of fluff those numbers in there to make it work. And, oh yeah, this is great. I'm going to run this business and make this great profit. But make sure it really works. Know your industry, know your market. Make sure you're putting realistic figures in there. And that's going to be probably your key thing, the business plan.
Okay, so with that, how can startups assess their capital needs or secure funding for the sources for their business ventures?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's very key. That's needed. So obviously, the obvious question or the obvious answer there is get a loan. Go to a bank, get a loan. A lot of times with startups, and depending on what industry you're in, it's going to be risky for banks, so they might not necessarily like giving you a loan. Or they might, want to put a lien on all your assets, your property, things that you might not necessarily want to do. So I would suggest reaching out and going to the SBA office.
What's SBA for some people
SBA
that
is
don't
Small
know?
Business
Okay.
Administration. And so they have loan programs there.
Okay.
And there's a few different ones that probably fit any business's needs. That would be a great place to start. There's other ways. There's grants, there's investors, but SBA might be a great resource to
Starting
start
point.
with. Yep.
Yeah, that's huge. I actually just listened to a podcast about some of the SBA loan programs for startups. So I'm glad you even mentioned it. Yeah, I mean,
good.
it sounded really great because to her point about banks being maybe not as willing to lend or just the terms that they want to lend on is not something that you want to be involved with, whether it be personal guarantee or... So I know the SBA has some that are government backed where you don't have to personally guarantee the debt and might just make someone just
Yes.
starting out feel a little more comfortable with getting that loan.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about managing cash flow. And I'm sure that speaks back to question 1 and question 2 once you have some cash at the bank from your loan or whatever you may have done. Jamie, just talk about what are some strategies that new companies can use to kind of manage the cash flow and maintain some stability?
Yeah, that's a big one. They all interrelate these questions. So cash flow, I guess for a new business starting out, I would recommend that they build some type of cushion in to if they're getting an SBA loan or a loan from the bank or something, build some cushion in so you have maybe that 1 to 3 months of operating costs that you can pull those funds from to use. So you're going to have employees to pay, you're going to have rent. And how are you going to pay those before you really start generating a whole lot of income, that first part of your business, that startup piece? So build some cushion in, see if you can take out the SBA loan, but take it out for X amount more, knowing that you're going to have these financial needs. In my business, my husband and I's restaurant, the way that we kind of manage our cash flow is on a weekly basis.
Sure.
So instead of doing like, oh, here's all our bills for the month, we manage it weekly and try to have one large payment or bill each week. And that's how we kind of manage it. So we do, week number 1, it's going to be rent. Rent is due week number 1. Week number 2 is our payroll. We pay our employees that week. Week number 3, we have sales tax due. And then week number 4 again is pay our employees. And then we repeat. So we really, know when things are due and strategize how you can, if you can manage it based on when your sales are coming in and manage it kind of weekly like that.
It kind of takes a little burden off of having to write at the beginning or the end or the middle all those bills to go out and kind of less shocking.
Yeah,
suppose.
absolutely.
If you don't have 3 or 4 big things hitting you all at once, it makes a huge difference. And it just kind of helps things run and operate a lot smoother.
When you got the SBA loan, or if someone gets an SBA loan or whoever their counselor, whoever they're working with, are they going to help estimate like, okay, so here's the bay you're going to be in, here's going to be the rent, you're going to have 5 employees, this is around what you should pay them. Like, do they tell you all that, or you as a business owner, you have to kind of like know all that going in?
You really have to know that going in. And so that kind of goes back to that first question with the business plan and just that financial forecasting or that financial planning and making sure that it works. So that's, if you get an SBA loan, they're going to want to see that.
All that.
And they're going to want to go through that and be like, okay, yes, this is a great business plan. It looks like it's going to work.
Giving you the
We're
money.
going to give you the money.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, then how can startups evaluate their financial performance, I guess, is a good one, and make informed decisions based on financial data that maybe they're tracking or their accountants are tracking?
Yeah, this one is tough. It's a tough question for me to answer because I look at financial data differently than other people do. I kind of have a little bit of an advantage there being a CPA. But I would say you're going to want to know certain things. So 1, keep up to date on your financial information, your financial statements. Don't operate your business all year, and then at the end of the year, go back and try to recreate your whole financial picture. Stay up to date on that stuff so you can pull information and use it in real time. And some of the key metrics or some of the key things that you're going to want to look at would be gross profit margin. Know like what your industry standards are and where you should be, and if you're hitting that or if you're far off, what can you do to, get you back to where you need to be at, or what's the reasoning why? I'll use this as an example with my husband's restaurant, with his food. Restaurants typically would be like a 30% cost of goods sold for the food. Well, we're higher. We're like at 35, but it's because we have such unique food. He's serving oxtail and things like that. So we have to kind of, give and take. It's like, we know we can't get around that, but we can maybe do our expenses a little bit differently or save somewhere else. Right. So really know that. And then I would say probably cash flow, like a cash flow statement is going to be like a business owner's best friend. Keep that in mind so or keep that handy so just how much you're spending and what your cash flow needs are each month and how much you're bringing in and et cetera.
Just listening to all this this has to do with kind of like your other job being a CPA. It's like tax planning. Like if they're saving all these records and showing all this in their cash flow and everything else they have, you can help them as a CPA. You can help them plan how they should spend their money or what they should be doing with their money because they have all the statements there.
Absolutely, yeah. That's something that we love going through with our business clients is, just kind of dissecting their financial statements and seeing where what we see as outliers and maybe some improvements that they can make.
I don't know if your husband loves or hates that you're
that's what I was going to say.
I don't know if I want to say that.
I know. I know he's probably going to hear this and be like, why are you putting all of our personal business out there?
To help other people.
Yes, it's for the benefits, for the greater good.
If someone has this question, someone else has this question, then it can be very helpful. So
absolutely.
I'm proud of him for letting you be a part of this.
Yeah.
And,
I'm sure he's grateful.
Yeah, blessed for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Man.
Well, that was great. That was all great advice, Jamie, and thank you for sharing. I think it's just invaluable, really, to have her perspective from both sides as someone who has walked through it. And as we mentioned, this is really the surface. There's so much more that could be built into this. I'm sure we could have
dig in deeper,
many episodes about this and probably cover each of the 4 questions as its own episode, but this is really just to kind of get the wheels turning for those who may be in this situation and then reach out with further questions. So Jamie, thank you again for coming and also sharing a little bit about your personal experience as well. We probably owe her husband some podcast merch maybe for letting him be the case study.
Maybe we should give it to him first and then tell him that the episode's
coming out.
Yeah. Like, what's this for? You'll see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you for having me. It was great to share some of my insights.
Yes, thank you for doing that. Yeah, we like giving both perspectives. We don't really get to do that very often,
Sure.
So it's kind of a great idea. So, all right. Well, we do enjoy everyone's likes and reviews to keep building this podcast and keep it going. So if you look for this post on any of our social media platforms, we'd love you to share it and like it. And then you can be entered in to win your own podcast swag.
Yes.
So, yes. You can find us on Instagram at Bland Accounting.
Also, you can check us out on our website, www.blandcpa.com. Actually, if you haven't been there in a while, we've got a new website. It's pretty sharp, so please go check it out. Fellow podcast co-host is the one who brought this thing to life. So please, everyone, go check it out and give her all the kudos that she deserves there.
And if you do mention it in any of the rate and reviews, I will for sure give you some swag about the website.
Yes, definitely.
So friends, with that, be informed,
be inspired,
and be awesome. Bye.
A Hurrdat Media Production.